Welcome to VeloPro. I'm Bob. This is my juice. This is our story, and today we're going to discuss methane. Methane is a bigger problem for us as humans than carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide levels are currently 4 times lower than optimum for plants. So we're just going to leave that there, and I did a story on it. I'm not saying we should make more. I'm just saying it's not the biggest problem we face. But methane looks like a bigger one, and I want to talk about what we're doing about it. What if I said the Earth was being invaded by methane breathing fiends from outer space? You might think I'm a bit Looney Tunes, and of course you'd be right. But if we have too much methane, we could, in fact, terraform the planet and actually change things for real. There are other planets that have methane atmospheres, and they're very unpleasant. Okay, so let's discuss methane. It's a powerful greenhouse gas, 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. It's natural and organic and found in reservoirs under the ground. However, man-made methane is a real concern. First, it smells really bad, which is good because it motivates landfills to collect it and burn it to make electricity, which is recycling, and we talked about that before. And I'm going to leave the link to a company called Waste Management who does that. MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology has probably the best science. I really admire their engineers, and I'm going to leave a link to some of what they're doing because they're looking at how hydrogen and carbon combine and how they possibly can be prevented and mitigated. So I'm going to leave a link to MIT because their science gets really deep. It's great stuff. While we all enjoy, good science projects, Australia has been really looking at this, and Australian farmers have taken a practical approach. Animal feed has impacted reductions by about 90% of methane, and under ideal conditions, this can be sustained. And we're going to talk about how they're doing it. The MLA, Meats and Livestock of Australia, says Leucaena plantations. Now, Leucaena is a type of brush. It's a leafy stuff. Can produce 22% more product with 20% reduction in agricultural methane. Native shrubs found in Western Australia, especially during the fall months, can increase productivity 5% and reduce methane by another 4%. Grape marc, not MARC, that's the stuff that comes off of grapevines, that kind of leftover bark, typically reserved as a drought feed, doesn't increase production, but lowers methane by 10. And they found that adding wheat to dairy cows can produce 20% more milk and lower methane by 40%. So you get 20% more milk, 40% less methane. Very good. Okay, red algae, seaweed, which is natural, it grows on the Australian coast. This stuff is a seaweed, and it's being commercially looked at for harvesting and growing it indoors. And the idea is to manufacture massive amounts of this red algae inexpensively, because currently it's really expensive to harvest. However, we've learned that they get an 8% increase in production of the animal with an 80% decrease in methane. So this red algae shows a lot of promise, and the Meats and Livestock of Australia have more on that. I'll leave you some information, as well with Australian government's assessments and some of their approaches, which also include vaccinations, and again, some of this little bit science project because it isn't a mature technology, but the feeds are, and that has shown real reductions in methane production. So we don't have to feel as bad when we have our T-bone, because we know that that animal produced 80% lower methane when it ate red algae. Yay! Okay, mining companies such as Clark are working on mitigation. Coal mining is a particularly important industry globally for energy and steel. So, protecting miners is really important from gases and such, but this stuff vents out, the methane vents out into the atmosphere, and they have learned to capture it. And I'll leave a link to Clark, who's been doing a lot. And I'll also leave you a link to methane.org, who has current assessments of methane. I do not vouch for their accuracy, but I'll leave the link. Companies like GTI are working on realistic monitoring and abatement. Now, that's really important because abatement means we can prevent it before it happens or after the organic decay happens and the methane gas is produced from organic decomposition. It can be gathered, collected, and recycled into big generators, and you can produce electricity with it, which is very, very beneficial. And waste management does that, and the link is on the top. So we always want to recycle, tune up our cars, check our tire pressure, do the best we can, and be conscientious. Try to buy natural and organic when possible. Thanks a lot for watching. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It is important. Thanks a lot. I must run.